It's another delicious day here in the Let's Make Food from Food Kitchen, and today we're going to make some Scotch eggs. They're delicious. It's a meal all in itself. You can take it with you on the go. It is yummy. So I've done a lot of my prep work already. 6 hard-boiled eggs peeled and ready to go. They're cold. I did my sausage ahead of time. I did both of these last night. Links are down below on an easy peel recipe method, I guess not recipe, method for the boiled eggs, and then a recipe for a breakfast sausage. Now this is a savory breakfast sausage, not sweet. I have a pound here and my 6 eggs. You could eke out 8 eggs if you just wanted to, like, you know, spread out your sausage a little. These eggs, if you'll notice, same as shells, farm fresh eggs. Why is this important? Because these are in fact Michelle's farm fresh eggs from Tammy, and I'm not going to tell you where she is because I'm not going to have you rush her for her chicken eggs. These are, look at these, they're beautiful. I've got all these kinds of different eggs. This one's all speckled, and some of them are so big. She's like, I can't even close it because some of her ladies are given some spectacularly large eggs. Now, this is the value of this. You could almost buy a car at today's egg prices, but not to worry. I do shower her with gifts of a homemade blue cheese dressing, which she drools over, and a homemade mayonnaise and things like that. So I reciprocate the egg gift, although the value of this is far outweighing what I give her, but don't tell her that because she might expect more. Let's go ahead and get started. My oven is preheating to 450 degrees. I have plain breadcrumbs. There is a link below on how to make those. I'm going to take a 1/4 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. You can use kosher salt, although I don't recommend it because the granulars aren't going to mix in as well. Just try not to use a table salt with anti-caking agents. Wow, I'm just not doing well with my words today. And I have some granulated garlic. You know I love to use fresh, but in this it doesn't really work so well. Then I have a generous teaspoon of dried parsley. And I'm using dried ingredients for this because it is a breadcrumb. So I'm just gonna mix those in. And you can add other seasonings. You wanna add pepper, you wanna add red pepper flakes, cayenne, if you want to add any other herbs, if you want to add dill, whatever you want to add, go for it. This is your recipe for your flavors. So I need an egg dip. So I'm going to start with 2 to 3 eggs, probably looking at my 6. It just depends on the size of your eggs. So I'm going to do 2 because eggs are so expensive right now. So that's ready to go. I'm just gonna set this whisk aside just in case I need to do one more egg, which I think will, but we'll see. Not gonna prejudge it yet. I'll have it ready to go. So what I wanna do is set this aside, and I already kind of flattened it in the bag. I put it in a Ziploc bag last night. I'm going to portion it. I'm gonna try and do it fairly evenly into my portions. So I have 6 eggs, and I'm just going to evenly portion it into 6 patties, okay? And we want it to be flat when we do the patties anyway, so I figure I'll just flatten it out as much as I can this way, and then I'll go ahead and cut it into portions. But if you kind of shore up the sides there, it'll help keep it kind of even. Because you're going to take your patties and form it around your eggs. Don't even need a sharp knife, so I'm just gonna cut it down the middle. And it doesn't have to be precise. Now, if you're one of those people that wants it to be precise, well, get out your scale, measure it, and you'll be good. So 1, there, that should be good. And because eggs are not ever the same size, just kind of gauge. If you have a couple of larger eggs and a couple of smaller ones, well, this will work out because I've got different size patties, but I'm gonna try and even it out just a little by doing that. So that's it. That's all I need to do. So I'm going to take one and I'm going to put it in my hands. And this is probably, out of this whole thing, the most challenging part is getting it formed around your egg because you don't want any gaps. So I have my egg and I'm just going to start putting it in a little blankie so it can take a long nap. Get toasty in the oven. Okay. So you just meet up the sides. You'll have to start pressing them together with your fingers, and then just kind of keep an eye on it. other parts because it can start to split open. Like I said, this can be the most challenging part. You just want to get all the gaps closed up. If you don't, here's what happens. The egg will be exposed to the high temperature in the oven and it will dry out and kind of start to crack a little bit, so it's not as good. It won't be disgusting, but it won't be as good. We want it to be good. I can't have you going, oh, that Michelle, her recipes, sometimes you just never know. No, that's not what we want. Okay, so I've got, see these little seams here? Try and pinch them together because they can split. Any weak spots in your egg wrap can split while it cooks, okay? So that is done. And there's two ways you can do this. You can wrap all of your eggs, then dip them all at the same time, or you can do it as you go. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap them all and then dip them, and the only reason I do it that way is because if I dip it now, then I've got egg all over my hand before I do the next one, and it just gets messy and hard to work with. So I'm gonna do the rest of these, and then I will pop back on. I'm gonna see if I can flatten it out a little bit more on my cutting board for this one. So I'll get these all wrapped up, and then I'll see you here in a minute. I'm gonna try and make this a quick video for you. Okay, this is the last one. I'm just filling in these little bit of seams that I can find, and we're ready to move on. And I'm just gonna put my sausagey hands right on these bowls because what do I care anymore? I'm gonna have to wash them anyway. So we're gonna dip our egg, completely coat it in the egg. Should I say the sausage egg into the liquid egg? Would that be more clear? Okay, and then we're gonna roll it in our seasoned breadcrumbs. Now, there are other ways to cook these. Very popular is frying them, and it is delicious. It is delicious to fry them. However, it is obviously not the healthiest way to make them, and we're trying to do better, and I'm sure at some point I will fry them. Maybe I'll use a different sausage or something. I'll change something up about it and make it different, and then we'll maybe fry them. So we just keep rolling these around until they're completely coated, and then we just kind of shake off the excess. And then I have a foil lined baking sheet here, and the foil isn't necessary. The foil is just helpful to aid in your cleanup because it is sausage, it will drip all over the place, so it just makes your cleanup faster and easier. So that's the only reason I use foil. You don't have to if you don't like to waste foil, because it is wasting. It's wasteful. So up to you on whether or not. You could use parchment paper too, whatever. You don't have to use anything. You could just clean up your pan. You want to have them on a rack when you cook these to keep them off of the bottom of the pan so that the excess fat coming off of the sausage drips down. So some sort of a rack to cook them on. I find that the broiling pan with the thick strips isn't going to be as effective as a rack like this is. While it's not ineffective, it's not going to be as good, and then the bottom of them tends to burn a little bit if you're not careful because they're sitting on that surface. So if you do have to use something like that, turn them over halfway through the cooking if you have to use a flat surface. I'm going to stick these in the oven, and then when they are done, I'm going to let them rest for a couple minutes, and then we will come back and see how we did. See you soon. Here we are. They are finished and looking very good. Now, things happen, and I always tell you, so do you remember when I said if you don't get it all the way closed around, how you could have a blowout? That's a beautiful blowout right there. Now, it didn't dry the egg out too bad. It seems like it's okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that one open since, you know, it's already partway open. And there's another little one right there that has just a little. So just honing in on, I've done this before and I still missed. I thought I got it really good, and lo and behold, I missed some. So I'm just going to slice this open and show you. Look at how beautiful that is. It's so delicious and tasty. So I'm gonna set this aside and just give it a try. Now I did have a plate set aside, but I think I'm just not even gonna, why? It's already on my cutting board. So one of the other things you can do, if you like salt on your eggs, like if you make boiled eggs and you like to salt them a little bit, you could, after you cut them in half, sprinkle a little salt on them. That is optional, of course. They are steaming hot. Beautiful. Yes, so good. Give these a try. Another time we'll make the fried version of it, but again, it's just not as healthy, and they still come out relatively crispy. It does help if you turn them over halfway through the baking process. I tend to not because, well, most of the time I forget, but you can, and it'll help crisp all the way around. So is there something you'd like to see me make? Tell me what it is down below in the comments. Thanks for joining me here today in the Let's Make Food from Food kitchen for another kitchen adventure from my kitchen to yours. Let's make food from food.
That's one boy puppy.